You think you've seen hot athletes before? Think again. These 10 men are more than just bodies built like Greek gods. They've shattered silence, flipped the script, and turned raw power into something unforgettable. Some rose from obscurity, others hid in plain sight. But each one? A jaw-dropping twist. And just when you're sure nothing can top the last, someone does. Don't blink. The moment you skip might be the one that haunts you. Few athletes have ever managed to turn a skating rink into a spotlight quite like Adam Rippon. With a body cut from ice and fire, his every glide across the rink commanded attention. Built from years of disciplined training, his lean, powerful frame moved with precision and elegance, embodying both artistry and athletic dominance. When Adam stepped into the 2018 Winter Olympics, he was not just another competitor. He was a vision. His routines combined flawless technical skill with captivating theatricality, and his confident presence brought a new kind of masculinity to figure skating, one that dared to be graceful, flamboyant, and fiercely unapologetic. But Adam's true impact extended far beyond the rink. As the first openly gay American male athlete to qualify for the Winter Olympics, he shattered more than just records. He shattered silence. In a world that often told LGBTQ+ athletes to tone it down or stay quiet, Adam turned up the volume. He used every interview, every performance, every public appearance as a chance to champion visibility and authenticity. His bold critiques of political hypocrisy and his refusal to be sidelined by conservative backlash made him not only an athlete, but a symbol of fearless defiance. He redefined what it means to compete, not just for medals, but for change. Today, Adam remains a force. His abs still chiseled, his charisma still blazing. He struts across red carpets in fashion that turns heads, speaks out for LGBTQ+ rights with passion and flair, and continues to inspire young queer athletes around the globe. His six-pack might steal the spotlight, but it is his spirit, defiant, radiant, and completely unfiltered, that keeps fans coming back for more. Adam Rippon did not just skate into history. He danced into it, arms wide open and head held high. Markus Thormeyer is the kind of athlete who looks like he was born to move through water. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a sculpted torso that catches the light like a polished statue, he slices through the pool with a mix of raw power and fluid rhythm. Each stroke is a blend of strength and precision, as if his body knows the language of water better than words. Competing at the Olympic level demands physical perfection, and Markus meets that challenge with grace. But behind the chiseled abs and national records is a man whose strength runs deeper than muscle. He exudes a quiet, self-assured energy, the kind that draws eyes and earns respect, even in the most pressurized moments. When he came out publicly in 2020, it was not with fanfare or drama. It was with vulnerability and purpose. In a deeply personal essay, Markus opened up about the emotional toll of hiding his truth and the liberation that followed his decision to live authentically. In a sport that often demands silence about personal identity, he chose honesty over comfort, courage over convenience. His story quickly made waves, not just in the world of swimming, but in homes and schools and locker rooms where young LGBTQ+ athletes were silently searching for someone to look up to. Markus gave them a voice, and more importantly, a vision of what being out and excellent could look like. Off the starting blocks, Markus continues to champion inclusivity with the same intensity he brings to every race. He advocates for mental health awareness, speaks at conferences about queer visibility in sports, and uses his platform to build a better future for those coming behind him. His toned physique might make headlines, but it is his authenticity, integrity, and compassion that make a lasting impact. Markus Thormeyer is more than just a swimmer. He is a wave of change, proof that strength lies not only in how fast you move, but in how true you are to yourself. Keegan Hirst is the kind of man who could silence a crowd just by walking into the room. Standing at 6'4", built like a stone wall with arms that look forged in a steel mill, he was the embodiment of British rugby league toughness. On the field, he played with an almost primal force, tackling like a freight train, charging down the pitch like nothing could stop him. In a sport known for its raw brutality and hypermasculinity, Keegan thrived. not by softening who he was, but by showing that strength could wear many faces. And behind all that power was something most fans never expected, a truth that would challenge everything they thought they knew about manhood. In 2015, Keegan became the first British professional rugby league player to come out as gay, and he did it while still playing, still grinding through tackles and winning games. His announcement sent shockwaves across the sports world. For years, he had lived in silence, afraid of what honesty might cost him, his teammates, his career, his identity. But when he spoke his truth, the walls did not crumble. Instead, something remarkable happened. Fans cheered, teammates embraced him, and Keegan became a symbol of resilience in cleats. He showed that being gay did not make him less of a man, it made him more of a human. Today, Keegan is more than an athlete. He is a speaker, a father, an advocate for mental health and LGBTQ+ rights. His body still turns heads, his rugged good looks and ripped physique have landed him in more than one magazine spread. But it is his journey that truly inspires. In breaking free from the expectations of a sport that demanded silence, Keegan gave permission to others to live boldly. He did not just change the game, he proved that even in the toughest of arenas, love, truth, and authenticity have a place at the table. When it comes to the hottest openly gay athletes of 2024, Nory is turning up the heat and flipping right over the competition. With Olympic-level precision, a sculpted gymnast's physique, and a smile that could melt steel rings, Arthur is redefining what it means to be strong, sexy, and unapologetically out. One look at him mid-routine, muscles flexed, eyes locked in focus, and it is easy to forget you are watching gymnastics and not a high-fashion campaign in motion. Every move feels deliberate, every landing a statement. He is not just executing skills, he is performing with power, elegance, and presence. Born in Brazil and already a national treasure after claiming bronze at the Rio 2016 Olympics, Arthur did more than impress judges. He won over an entire country. But what truly makes him a standout in 2024 is not just his body or athleticism, it is his bravery. In 2021, he came out publicly by sharing a photo with his boyfriend through a casual, joyful Instagram post. No press release, no crafted message, just love. In that moment, Arthur elevated himself beyond medals and titles. He became a beacon for queer visibility in sports, someone young athletes around the world could look up to and see themselves in. Now, every photo he shares, every shirtless training clip, every red carpet appearance in tailored suits hugging every inch of his elite frame, Arthur radiates a confidence that is magnetic. He is not hiding behind uniforms, expectations, or gravity. He flips, he flies, he lands with thunder, and each moment declares, "This is who I am." In 2024, Nory is not just the golden smile of gymnastics. He is the gold standard of what it means to be out, powerful, and completely irresistible. A man who embodies excellence in motion and authenticity at rest. And we are all watching, jaw dropped and inspired. While most athletes struggle to master one sport, Dunn built his legacy on two. With a body that seemed engineered for both brute force and explosive speed, Simon charged down rugby fields with the confidence of a warrior and hurtled down icy tracks in a bobsleigh like he had no fear of gravity. His towering physique, broad chest, shredded core, and legs carved from years of sprint work made him the kind of man you would expect to see on the cover of a fitness magazine. But beneath that physical power was a mission: to prove that being gay and being tough are not mutually exclusive. Simon became the first openly gay man to represent any country in the sport of bobsleigh, and that distinction was no footnote, it was a statement. He knew he was stepping into arenas where queer athletes were either erased or expected to keep quiet. But Simon never tiptoed. He spoke out, posed for bold campaigns, and pushed back against stereotypes with both humor and pride. Whether he was clashing on the rugby field or racing at blistering speed down an ice track, he did it as an openly gay man who refused to be defined by shame or silence. His courage was not theatrical, it was consistent, day in and day out. And it rippled across sporting communities. Even after stepping away from competitive sports, Simon remained a powerful force. He advocated fiercely for LGBTQ+ inclusion in athletics, lent his platform to causes he believed in, and inspired countless others to live with courage. His physique remained as striking as ever, but it was his voice, passionate, grounded, and unwavering, that carried the real weight. Though Simon is no longer with us, his impact is alive in every queer athlete who dares to be seen. He was more than muscle and medals. He was a movement in motion, and his legacy continues to run at full speed. Not every champion wears their pride on their sleeve. Some, like Tom Luchsinger, carry it quietly, beneath the ripples of the water. With his broad shoulders, sculpted torso, and powerful strokes, Tom carved his way through the competitive swimming world, rising as a national champion in the 200-meter butterfly. His body mirrored the kind of physical perfection fans expect from elite swimmers. Tight core, streamlined form, and strength that surged with every lap. But what set Tom apart was not just his athletic prowess. It was the internal storm he weathered long before stepping onto a podium. Coming out, for Tom, was not about the spotlight. It was about survival. After years of hiding his identity in a sport that often felt hostile to authenticity, he reached a breaking point. In a moment of raw honesty, he decided to share his truth. Not with fanfare, but with heart. His announcement in 2014, while still in peak form, struck a chord throughout the swimming community. It reminded the world that even the most physically dominant athletes can wrestle with doubt, fear, and shame. But once he let go of the secret, Tom began to swim not just for medals, but for freedom. And the difference was palpable. Today, Tom channels his experience into purpose. He has become a passionate advocate for mental health, speaking openly about the pressures of performance and the weight of hiding one's identity. His ripped physique is still a symbol of strength, but so is his vulnerability. Whether mentoring young athletes or challenging outdated norms in sports, Tom proves that power is not just about muscle, it is about truth. And his journey reminds us that sometimes the fiercest battles are fought within, and the greatest victories are not televised, they are lived. There is a quiet intensity in rowing, the kind that does not crave applause but demands respect. And Robbie Manson brings that intensity in waves. With a frame built for power, long limbs, rock-solid core, and veins that pop with effort, he glides over water like a force of nature. Every pull on the oars is a display of raw energy and perfect timing, owned over years of sacrifice. His body is not just impressive, it is functional art, shaped by endless hours chasing split times and battling fatigue. But Robbie's greatest test was never on a race course. It was in the silence between strokes, where identity and expectation collided. In 2014, Robbie shattered a different kind of barrier. He became the first openly gay elite rower in New Zealand. It was a bold move in a sport where tradition often overshadows individuality. At a time when keeping quiet would have been easier, Robbie chose honesty, and the ripples were felt worldwide. His coming out was not wrapped in drama, it was matter of fact, grounded, and powerful. He showed that masculinity does not need to conform to a single mold, and that strength can coexist with sensitivity. His openness allowed others to breathe easier, to imagine a version of athletic greatness that did not require hiding who they were. Since then, Robbie has used his platform not to seek praise, but to push for progress. He speaks with candor about body image, performance pressure, and the mental toll of elite sport. His sculpted physique still dominates headlines, especially when paired with his signature Kiwi charm, but it is his courage to show all sides of himself, athlete, advocate, human, that truly resonates. Robbie Manson does not just row toward finish lines, he rows toward a future where authenticity is as valued as achievement. In a sport often dominated by familiar flags and familiar faces, Amini Fonua stood out, boldly, beautifully, and without apology. With Polynesian tattoos wrapped around his muscular frame, a megawatt smile, and shoulders wide enough to carry two cultures at once, he turned heads before even diving into the pool. Amini was not just a swimmer, he was a symbol. Representing Tonga on the world stage, he brought visibility to a region often left in the background of elite sports. His body, sculpted by years of disciplined training, moved through water like poetry in motion. But beneath the surface, he carried a weight far heavier than physical resistance. Coming out as gay while being a proud representative of both Pacific Island and Catholic communities was a balancing act most could not imagine. But Amini did not play it safe. He chose to be seen. In interviews and on social media, he spoke openly about the pressures of being both queer and Pacifica in a space that rarely embraced either. His vulnerability became his strength. Instead of shrinking under scrutiny, he amplified his truth, showing young LGBTQ+ Pacific Islanders that they could be strong, proud, and sacred in every sense. For Amini, visibility was not vanity. It was a lifeline to others who needed to know they were not alone. Today, Amini continues to redefine what it means to be a champion. He blends athleticism with activism, speaking out on queer rights, body positivity, and cultural inclusion. Whether in a Speedo on the world stage or wrapped in a traditional lava at pride parades, he carries his heritage and his queerness with equal pride. His abs may sparkle under pool lights, but it is his fire, unapologetic, joyful, and rooted, that truly shines. Amini Fonua is more than a swimmer. He is a cultural force, proving that authenticity is the fiercest kind of power. In Brazil, where passion fuels everything from football to carnival, Matheus Santana brought that same fire to the water. With a swimmer's physique straight out of a Greek statue, broad chest, carved abs, and that signature V-taper, he looked like he was born to race. And indeed, Matheus exploded onto the international stage as a teenage phenom, setting junior world records with a splash that caught global attention. But behind the gold medals and lightning speed was a man carrying a quieter ambition, not just to win, but to live fully and freely in his own skin. Matheus came out publicly in 2022, and for many, it was a revelation. In a country where queer athletes still face intense cultural scrutiny, his voice cut through the noise with clarity and class. There was no scandal, no breakdown, just a confident affirmation of who he is. His decision to speak out was more than personal, it was political. It showed fans back home and across the world that greatness and queerness are not mutually exclusive. By living his truth, Matheus redefined what a Brazilian sports hero could look like: strong, fearless, and openly gay. Outside of the pool, he radiates charm, whether he is gracing magazine covers, inspiring young fans online, or speaking about inclusion in sports. His looks turn heads, but his authenticity holds attention. There is a calm self-assurance in everything he does, a quiet pride that needs no performance. Matheus Santana is not just a swimmer. He is part of a new generation rewriting the rules of what it means to be a man, to be an athlete, and to be seen. Before the waves of LGBTQ+ visibility reached mainstream sport, Daniel Kowalski was already making quiet ripples. A decorated Olympian from Australia, his physique was the picture of classic endurance, defined, lean, and powerful. He was not the flashiest swimmer in the pool, but he was one of the most reliable, pushing his body to the limit in grueling long-distance events. His athleticism spoke in steady rhythm, not loud spectacle. But beneath that calm surface, Daniel carried a truth that would take years to bring into the light. It was not until 2010, years after his final Olympic appearance, that Daniel came out publicly as gay. By then, he had already secured his place in history with multiple medals and world championships. Yet for Daniel, the most significant victory came not from touching the wall first, but from reaching a point of self-acceptance. He admitted that fear and shame had silenced him during his career, and his honesty about that inner struggle resonated deeply. In choosing to come out when he no longer had sponsorships or cameras waiting, Daniel proved something powerful: that authenticity does not have an expiration date. It only needs courage. Since then, Daniel has become a mentor, advocate, and symbol of growth. His story, unlike others who came out in the spotlight, reminds us that it is never too late to choose truth. His physique still reflects an athlete's discipline, but now it is his voice, measured, thoughtful, unwavering, that defines him. He is a bridge between generations, linking the quiet pioneers of the past to the bold leaders of today. Daniel Kowalski helps others begin their journeys, and reminds us that peace is a victory worth chasing. They came, they conquered, and they showed the world that pride is not a weakness, it is a weapon. Their bodies turned heads, but their truth, that's what made them legends. So if one of these stories made you feel something, share it and let someone else know that being real is the sexiest strength of all.